Hello and welcome to this recording of the KWD Webranking webinar introducing the news and updates for the 2013 to 2014 version. My name is Helena Wennergren. I'm a director at KW Digital and I am overall responsible for KWD Webranking. In this presentation we will go through the process of KWD Webranking, which will be probably a reminder of those of you who already know us, but we think it's worthwhile to show the full picture of the ranking. We will go through the key dates for 2013. I will also run through some of the findings from the background research in our Web Management Report, Capital Market Survey and Career Survey. I will also give an overview of the changes we have done this year when it comes to the sections and criteria, as well as what result lists we plan to publish. I will quickly run through the type of reports that we provide, and after that there will be time for questions. KWD Webranking is an annual research project that we have been doing since 1997. This will be the 17th edition. We start every year by gathering information from web managers, communications directors, online managers, etc., to understand what they see as their challenges this upcoming year, and also to better understand their situation. We do interviews with experts in fields such as investor relations, media relations, financial reporting, CSR, and so on. The experts are mainly from within King Worldwide, but can also be external. After that, we do two larger surveys, one to the capital market and one to job seekers. And based on their input, we create the criteria for KWD Webranking. And the rankings take place during the summer. We do them from offices in Stockholm, London, Milan, Lisbon, and Dubai. And in the autumn, we compile the results, we put together the reports, and we hand out the awards to the top performers. So this is the process for KWD Webranking, the one that we do every year. So for this year, we have some key dates. The ranking started on June 3rd and will end on August 16. During this period, we will rank around 900 companies. And we don't rank, as we do rank them from different offices, we don't have a specific order. For example, we don't do them alphabetically. So we cannot really tell you when your company will be ranked. One new thing for this year is that, as we know that many of you work with your websites during the summer, we welcome you to send us an email if you're making any major changes or updates. For example, if you're relaunching your website or just launching a new section of your website or new functionality such as a share graph and so on. Do let us know if this is happening during summer. Send us an email with your links to this content to kwdwebranking@kw-digital.com before August 9, preferably as soon as possible, but no later than at the 9th of August. This is so that we will be able to take care of all of your changes, and we'll do our best to take into consideration any changes that you inform us about. So after August 16, we will spend some time with quality assuring, going over some of the rankings again to make sure we get the right result lists. And sometime in mid-October, we plan to release the first results. We do this together with media, and as you know, we cannot control them completely, so therefore we cannot give you an exact date for this. But the plan is to release them around the middle of October. What we can control a little bit more is the reports that we produce and that you can buy. For those who pre-order their reports during the summer, we will be able to deliver the first ones starting in the beginning of November. And after that, we will deliver reports constantly, depending on the date of the order. And after that, we will, of course, hand out awards, and we will have some events. The exact dates for these have not yet been set, but they will be announced on our website, of course, and we will send you emails and newsletters about that as well. So moving on to the research piece of this, which is, of course, the basis for the rankings, starting with the web management report. This year we got 137 respondents from 22 countries and 123 listed companies. This is slightly more than the year before, which we think is good, of course. In last year we got 122 responses. What we can see is that the main areas for improvements when it comes to the content in digital channels is about information about the company. And looking at the results of last year's KWD Webranking, that is the ranking of the companies, we saw that the average score in the About Us section was around 50%, which means that there is a need to improve this information. And of course the same goes for the remaining sections, and there has been an increase from the companies in their wishes to improve their sustainability information as well as career information. Another trend that we need to mention, of course, is the responsive design, which I'm sure all of you have heard about and discussed the past year. What we can see in some other research studies that we've made is that the traffic from mobile devices is increasing also for corporate websites. You've probably read the studies about the trends for commercial websites, but now it's also safe to say that it's the same for corporate websites. Looking at 15 selected corporate websites, we saw that in 2011 there were around 5% who came from mobile devices. And earlier in this spring, there were 17% that visited corporate websites from a mobile device, either a smartphone or a tablet. And the web management survey shows us that the companies are pretty much on top of this. They are at least 40% plan to improve or to emphasize the responsive design during 2013. Which is good. Last year we made a quick survey looking into Europe's 100 largest companies to see if they had a responsive website. Last year in April there were only one company who had a responsive website. This year we have seen that it's 10 companies. Which means it's only 10%, but still it's 10 times as many as last year. So there is an improvement, and my personal guess is that we'll see more responsive websites from perhaps slightly smaller companies that are in perhaps smaller web platforms. And another hot topic for the past couple of years has been social media. This year we also asked the companies what kind of channels that they use for their corporate communications. 83% say that they use Twitter, either actively or relatively actively. 76% uses LinkedIn. These two channels are followed by Facebook, where 74% of the companies says that they use it. And we will see what the target groups have to say about this bit later on in the presentation. The priority of social media has increased slightly compared to last year. The figure, the same question, how they prioritize it, was last year 64% and this year it's 67%. So there's a lot of focus on this as well. Moving over to the capital market survey, this year we had 239 respondents from Europe, Asia, North and South America. They are covering all of companies in all of these regions, and they also, however, there is a slight emphasis on European company respondents. This year we have quite a large amount of business journalists who responded, but as usual we also have a fair amount of analysts and investors of different types. The most important information, according to these respondents, is pretty much the same as it has been the past couple of years. It's a lot about financial reports, however in different formats, fast facts with key information, press releases, and then we also have content such as growth drivers, market share, sector or competitor statistics. These are quite safe bets to be very thorough and transparent with on your website. And we have pretty much since we started with KWD Webranking, we have asked how important are the different sources, networks and forums for information about listed companies. The corporate website is, as you can see in the top here, along with databases such as Bloomberg and Reuters. The figure here is quite constant and have been like that since for many years. There are some interesting points about this slide that I would like to point out. We have, first of all, that we have websites like ft.com and wsj.com, i.e. the websites for Financial Times and Wall Street Journal, are more important than the printed newspapers. This is interesting as in most cases the editors or the journalists, the articles might be different between the web versions and the printed versions, and that our target groups are very much online. Another interesting thing is that LinkedIn is actually quite an important source for information about listed companies. As you can see, even though the amount that says that it's important around 4 or 5 on a scale from 1 to 5 is around 30%, but the people who say it's at least even more or between 3 and 5 is close to 50%, and which it means that it's more important than Wikipedia, slightly more at least. So companies are doing the right thing in being present and having control over their information on LinkedIn. This year we have also asked a couple of more questions about how the target groups behave. When it comes to annual report, it's quite interesting to see that more people really read the annual report on the website rather than the printed version. This indicates that even if you only have a PDF on your website, the design of it needs to work also for the screen, as well as of course for printing, but also for printing from your normal office printers. There's also 14% who read annual reports from apps, and the reason for it being such a low score is probably because there are very few annual reports available as or in apps. When it comes to the level of details, the capital market gives higher importance to detailed information. 91% find it very important that it's easy to find detailed information. And it's also important to find summarized information. As you can see, 83% find it very important that it's easy to find summaries. Although KWD Webranking focuses on the content of corporate websites, we wanted to know this year how important the visuals are. And as you can see, they are quite important. 76% find it important with illustrations and or interactivity that support the content on a page. And slightly more say it's important that the website is appealing. The darker green represents those who answered 4 or 5 on a scale from 1 to 5. The brighter green is the importance of 3, and the gray is between 1 or 2. We get some interesting comments from the target groups in our survey. Many of them comment on the search function and the possibility to find information. You see the first one, especially search functions often lack accuracy. A lot of information is hidden too deep in the different menus. We also have some who comment about the level of details. There's not enough detailed information, and often detailed information hard to find on the website. And of course, there are also those who would prefer everything to be in an Excel file, saying that many are over-designed with too much flash, which makes it impossible to scrape text and tables. Those were the voices from business journalists. Analysts are quite alike in this case, asking for detailed information. Some of them don't necessarily want to contact IR for all information. They also comment about companies allowing stale or not updated information on their website, and that companies often tend to make it difficult and complex to find information. There's a general lack of simplicity and transparency, and a strong need of standardization. And this is something that we, with our KWD Webranking reports, hope to help you improve for your target groups through our best practices examples. So that was a little bit about from the capital market survey. Moving over to the career survey, where we had 161 respondents, most of them from Europe. There are a few exceptions from Australia and India. Most of them are between 25 and 34 years old. They have a bachelor or master's degree, and they have worked for a couple of years. When asking them the question about the most important source when searching for a job, the corporate website wins in all categories, which is corresponds also quite well with the fact that of the number of visitors to a corporate website, often around 70 to 80% are visitors to the career section. So it is important information and an important section. The corporate website is more important than friends and family, and as well as career-focused websites such as Monster and Adecco, etc. LinkedIn company pages are not yet that popular, but still quite popular and close to the career-focused websites. And the corporate website is also more trustworthy than LinkedIn company pages or Facebook company pages. Some highlights. We asked, in some cases, similar questions as we did to the capital market group. And among the job seekers, there are more who wants to find brief information quickly rather than detailed information. But as you can see, it's quite important with both the brief information and the details. And the job seekers, to a greater extent than the capital market, thinks it's important that the website is appealing. And when asking about social media, we asked 2 questions, both about if they search for information about potential employers, that is the companies, and also if they search for information about vacancies in social media. And about 2/3 use social media to find both information about the company and about vacancies. And the sources for this is again LinkedIn is high up, where we have almost 80% find LinkedIn an important social media source when searching for information about the company. And they also rate LinkedIn even higher when looking for vacancies. When looking for information about the company, Wikipedia is quite high as well, with a little bit over 50%, followed by blogs. And when it comes to vacancies, Facebook is way after LinkedIn with close to 40%. So for job seekers, our bet would be that you will go to work a little bit with your LinkedIn company page. So that was it about the some of the background research information. And moving over to the KWD Webranking for this year and some of the changes that we've made. For those of you who know us, you know that the past couple of years we have had 100 criteria. We will have the same this year, and each criterion can consist of one or more measure points. This year we have 328 measure points in total, which means that, well, this can be one criterion could have just one measure point and another one can have up to 6 or 7 measure points. The scoring per point can differ as well. And the reason for us changing the criteria and as well as the importance of them is of course based on the results in our survey, what the capital market says and what the job seekers say. We will also be a little bit stricter this year when it comes to some criteria based on the importance of the information. So there might be a difference from the previous year. So trying to calculate the number of changes we've made, we have 8 completely new criteria. We have 18 new measure points in existing criteria, and we have changed the measure points in around 38 criteria. Sorry, we have changed 38 measure points, and we have changed the score in around 61 measure points. In total, this corresponds with around 35%, depending on how you count, which is it's slightly higher than last year, but it's quite normal. We often change somewhere between 20 to 30%. And last year we made a big difference in how we measure social media. We started by looking into if companies had social media accounts about 2 or 3 years ago, and last year we looked into the type of information that companies use their social media channels for, to make it more relevant and not only be there. The sections that these 100 criteria are divided into are the same as last year. We look at the start page. We look at the About Us section, or information about the company. We look at press and media, and this section has increased with 1 point this year. Financial reporting is another one, which has also increased by 2 points. However, this has mainly to do with us having moved some criteria or measure points into this section instead. We look at the share information and investor relations. We have chosen to split up financial reporting, share, and investor relations to make it more, a little bit more possible to extract the type of information with this overview. We look into corporate governance information and corporate responsibility. Corporate responsibility has decreased slightly due to the demand. Career section and functions are the other two. Functions is more global functions than you can find on a website that are not strictly related to one of these sections. We often get the question on how we select the companies that we rank, and we base them solely on their market cap. We start with the 500 largest companies in Europe based on market cap, based on a list from Financial Times. And we also look into the Global 100. The Global 100 are ranked a little bit later in the autumn. And then we also add companies from selected markets depending on demand and history. In those cases, we have companies that are not ranked. Who wants to be ranked, we can provide a on-demand report, which means that we rank the company according to the same criteria as the others, and we compile it into the same type of report, but we don't publish their results in the results list. And that can be because of them not being listed or not being large enough. And the important thing here is, in our minds, is that we don't cherry pick companies that we think should be part of this. But we do the largest, and in total we rank around 900 companies every year. The results lists this year, the ones that we plan to release, are of course the Europe 500 and the Global 100. We also do the Middle East, Sweden, UK, Finland, Norway, Denmark, Italy, Switzerland, Austria, Spain, and Portugal. There might be some additional ones as well, but that hasn't yet been decided. This year we're also introducing something new. We're introducing the section best practice, where we want to highlight both the high scores and an overall impression of a section. For example, looking at an investor relations section, which could cover both our investor relations sections as well as share information and financial reporting. This is the first time that we include some qualitative measures, but we combine it with the objective rankings based on the criteria. We plan to appoint the section best practice for investor relations, press and media, career, sustainability, and online annual reports. At least. We will see exactly which ones we will release. We hope that this will serve as some good inspiration and will also be able to reward those who are doing a really extra good job. So, as I said, and as you probably know, all of the information and the results, the detailed results, are available in the reports that we provide. Those of you who know us, you know the type of reports that we have, and I will repeat that if you wouldn't know that. The basic report is the company report, where you get the background research and the detailed data from the background surveys, the ones that I've just touched upon now. You also get some best practice examples for each criteria, and all of the criteria are explained with their definitions and importance, and you also get your own score and evaluation, of course. If you're interested in a benchmark analysis where your website is compared to either your selected peers or your industry, you will need to get the benchmark report. And would you like a qualitative comparison and extended review of your website, you can get the Benchmark Plus report. That will also include a presentation to you and your company, either on site or by video. And for those that are not ranked, or if you would like a specific ranking covering perhaps other sections of your websites or comparisons, it could be, for example, your business websites or local websites, we can provide an on-demand report. And for those, we will include the basic research, but we can also add additional ones, and therefore we don't have a set price for this. So that is by request. And that was it. Some of the questions that have come in is about if we can release the previous year's criteria, and unfortunately not. We don't reveal any of that, even though we change 35% every year. Around 65 is still the same, which means that we don't reveal that to those who haven't bought the report. If you buy the report, everything is completely available to you, but otherwise not. We also got a question on how we evaluate social media. And again, I cannot go into the details, but what we do is that we look at the content or the type of posts that you have in your social media channels. This year we will actually only look at the social media channels that you link to yourself, so that we can see if that it is the official social media channel, the corporate account of yours, and not something that someone else has created in your name, or if it's a more business account. We also got a question about responsive design, if that is something that is that the only solution instead of having a mobile website. And I think that's a good question. Currently, the responsive design is the most transparent way, as visitors can be quite sure that it's the same information regardless of which device you're visiting the website from. And that was it. Thank you very much for your time. If you want to use parts of our research in your material, you are welcome to do that, but please refer to us as the source. And do let us know if you have any further questions. Thank you very much. Bye.